and I also love a bit of politics. Today I want to take us to a journey of discovery. How many of you know about Nelson Mandela? Now, if you know about Nelson Mandela, you will notice that Nelson Mandela doesn't need to have a title attached to his name so you know who he is. Sindio? If we just say Nelson Mandela, you will automatically know who he was. Now I want to tell you a story that maybe you didn't know about Nelson Mandela. There was a time that Nelson Mandela was traveling and he boarded a plane. When he boarded that plane, something scared Nelson Mandela. If you've read his history or biography, Nelson Mandela was a giant. He was more than a giant. He was a 6'7" tall. So something scared Nelson Mandela. And what scared Nelson Mandela was that a black man was the pilot of the plane that he was boarding. He writes that in his book, The Long Way to Freedom. So Mandela is scared because he's boarding a plane and a black man is the pilot of that plane. Now Nelson Mandela, later in his book, he asked himself that if he himself, who was championing freedom and championing the superiority of Africans, at one moment thought that an African cannot fly a plane. So he asked himself, how many Africans did the apartheid mindset define who they were? He asked himself, how many Africans thought they were inferior because of the society that they lived in? And the reason why I'm telling you this story is because I believe as young people, we've let the society define who we are. We have let the society we live in tell us who we are. And so, today I want to challenge you. I just want you to take a minute and close your eyes and ask yourself, who am I? So you can just take a minute and close your eyes and ask yourself, who am I? Kuna mtu hajafunga macho. Just ask yourself, who am I? Hey. Did you get an answer? You get an answer. Who are you? You're an African. Who else got an answer? So he's an African. Now, most of us let the society that we live in tell us who we are. Our idea of masculinity, our idea of having fun has been defined by the society. And I think it's high time as young African leaders, we redefine what it means to be a leader. Because personally, I think that leadership isn't about titles. Leadership is about knowing yourself deeply, that your presence inspires change. Leadership is knowing who you are. Leadership is knowing what you stand for. That is what it takes to be a leader. But it all begin with a simple question that you can often close your eyes and ask yourself, who am I? And most importantly, you can ask yourself, who choose to become? Thank you.
Wow, let's appreciate Tony. Let's appreciate Tony. Wow. Anaweza hawezi by the way. Siako sawa? Wow, mpigie makofi tafadhali. Asante. Msichoke au msiboeke sana, lunch inakuja, imefika tu hapo juu. Inakuja saa hizi. Hivyo basi mniruhusu pia nimuite Nicholas Kiprono, Kenya and Beyond. Tumpigie makofi tafadhali. Nicholas Kiprono. Asante DJ.
Okay, all protocol observed. Good afternoon. Okay, Erastus Nicholas Kiprono, second year student, Masinde Mulira University, pursuing bachelor degree in international diplomacy and foreign relations. I'm here to present Kenya and foreign relations, the situation between diplomacy in Kenya and two countries, that is Kenya and DRC, and Kenya and Sudan. I will start with Kenya and Sudan. In recent past, we have seen Kenya diplomacy situation in Kenya and South Sudan. I will start with positive advantage to Kenya diplomacy and Sudan diplomacy. First, Kenya has potential to influence Sudan transitions, positioning itself as a key player in conflict resolution. You know, as per now, since 2013, Sudan has been experiencing insecurities in their territories. So Kenya has played an important role in making peace in the sovereignty of Sudan. Now we have disadvantages of Kenya involving itself in foreign diplomacy. The first thing is diplomatic tensions. Sudan has accused Kenya of interfering in its international affairs, particularly after Kenya hosted Sudanese rebel groups in 2025, this on January. This led Sudan recalling its ambassador from Nairobi. The diplomatic fallout has been source of tensions, highlighting Kenya's support for Sudanese opposition groups. Yesterday, Sudan government, through the Ministry of Transport, declined Kenya from importing any kind of goods and service to Sudan. That's what is called diplomatic tension. Kenya has been blocked from transporting any items to Sudan. Despite these humanitarian challenges, Kenya has offered humanitarian aid and diplomatic support in addressing Sudan's internal crisis. In politics, Kenya's involvement in Sudanese crisis have been criticized by Sudan government, but is seen by others as part of Kenya's broad peace-building efforts in Africa. Despite many challenges Sudan facing, or Kenya diplomats are facing, but through the international organization, Kenya has been seen part of making peace in Sudan. You have economic diplomacy. Kenya's foreign policy emphasizes trade investment across Africa and beyond. Its role as hub for East Africa economy help in strengthening its diplomatic ties with particular neighboring countries and international partners. Its strategic location, Kenya's geographical position along the Indian Ocean, give it strategic access to global trade routes, enhancing its foreign policy influence in both regional and international context. Kenya has played an important role in Sudan by providing troops to go and deal with malicious groups in Sudan. We have diplomatic conflicts. Kenya involvement in conflict zones, particularly in countries like Sudan and DRC, can lead to diplomatic tension with regional powers or government that view Kenya's action as interfering in their sovereignty. So Sudan see Kenya as they interfere with their sovereign state. For example, Sudan negative response to Kenya, hosting rebels groups, show the risks of friction with countries facing internal threats. We have risks of overtaxations. With this active role in international diplomacy, Kenya may overextend its diplomatic and military efforts. It could potentially become entangled with too many conflicts across the continent, impacting its ability to maintain focus to domestic issues and regional stability. Now Kenya and Democratic Republic of Congo. We have more advantages and disadvantages in Kenya involvement in sovereign states of Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC. We have security cooperation. Kenya has played important role in peacekeeping effort in DRC, especially conflicts-ridden eastern region. As you know, on January there is a conflict continuing in DRC. Also, Kenya has contributed troops to East African Standby Force, EASF, and United Nations peacekeeping mission, focusing on stabilizing the DRC. Another important role of Kenya in Democratic Republic of Congo is Kenya facilitates peace talk of M23 rebels in 2013 in Nairobi, demonstrating its diplomatic commitment to resolving conflicts in the region. In 2022, Kenya supported DRC's membership in East Africa Community, that is EAC, and strengthening regional integration and economic cooperation. You have dread, you have challenges. Kenya involvement in DRC conflicts may have seen controversial by regional actors like Rwanda, which has been accused of supporting rebels in the region. In conclusion, Kenya foreign policy has allowed it to play important role in regional and continental diplomacy, particularly in peacekeeping, trade, and humanitarian efforts. However, these policies come with both opportunities and risks. On the other hand, Kenya strengthened its influence in Africa through mediation, regional integration, and economic diplomacy. We have, on the other hand, it faced the challenges of balancing its ambition for regional leadership with the complexities of criticisms that come with interference in foreign conflicts, as seen it is a relation with Sudan and DRC. Kenya diplomacy has played many roles in Africa and in the continent at large. I beg to submit my case there. As I was saying, I'm Nicholas Kiprono, a second-year student, and also the president of Model United Nations, Moose Chapter. Thank you.
Wow. Let's appreciate Nicholas. Hey, let's appreciate Nicholas more than that, please. Kuna mtu hata